Welcome back to the EMT's Blood Pressure Podcast. You know the drill. It's your one-stop shop for all things blood pressure. I'm Samuel Harrison.
And I'm Olivia Harper.
And we're so glad you join us for another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about vasodilators.
Yes, those essential medications. We'll explore how they work, why they're so important for managing all sorts of cardiovascular conditions, and what you really need to know to use them safely and effectively.
All right, let's jump right in. What exactly are these vasodilators, and why should we care about them?
Okay, well, you can imagine that your blood vessels are like a network of highways crisscrossing all over your body.
Right.
And sometimes those highways, they get a bit congested.
Yeah, rush hour.
Leading to higher pressure. And that's where vasodilators come in. They're like the traffic controllers of your system.
Traffic controllers, that's a good analogy.
Yeah.
So how do they actually work, these traffic controllers? How do they ease that congestion?
Well, they have this ability to relax the smooth muscle cells that line the walls of your blood vessels.
Okay.
So think of it like this. When these muscle cells are really tense, they constrict the vessels, making it harder for blood to flow through.
Makes sense.
But when vasodilators come into play, they basically tell those muscle cells to chill out.
Okay.
Which allows the blood vessels to widen and blood to flow much more smoothly. And this lowers blood pressure and reduces all that strain on your heart.
So it's not just about the numbers on the blood pressure reading, but it's about like the overall flow throughout the body.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's impressive. Now, I know vasodilators are often used to treat hypertension, but you mentioned other conditions too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So while they're definitely, the stars of managing high blood pressure, they're pretty versatile. So they're also used to treat angina, which is, chest pain caused by reduced blood flow to the heart.
So they're like a first-line defense against those really painful angina episodes.
Exactly. And they're not stopping there. They're also used in managing heart failure, a condition where the heart, it can't pump as efficiently as it should.
Right.
By easing that workload, vasodilators can help improve its function and alleviate symptoms.
Wow, so they really are multitaskers.
They really are. And another cool thing is pulmonary hypertension. That's a condition affecting the arteries in the lungs. Vasodilators can help to relax those arteries, improving blood flow and easing the strain on the right side of the heart.
Okay, so from angina to heart failure to pulmonary hypertension, they really do it all. Is there anything else they're helpful for?
Believe it or not, certain cases of erectile dysfunction.
Whoa, okay. I would not have guessed that one. How do they play a role there?
Well, just like they can help to improve blood flow in other areas of the body, they can also increase blood flow to,
Yeah, I think our listeners get the picture. So we've definitely established that vasodilators are the Swiss Army knives of medications, but what about their speed? How quickly do they actually work?
Yeah, that's another great thing about them. They are known for their really quick action.
Mm-hmm.
So in urgent situations like hypertensive emergency where your blood pressure needs to be lowered quickly, they can be a true lifesaver.
So they're like the paramedics of the medication world.
That's a great analogy.
Ready to jump in.
Yeah. And because they improve blood flow, they can have a positive ripple effect.
Okay.
Think of it like unclogging a traffic jam. Once the blockage is clear, everything starts moving smoothly again. In the same way, vasodilators can help to improve organ function and also alleviate those symptoms of poor circulation like fatigue or dizziness, even pain.
It's not just about blood pressure. It's about optimizing the entire circulatory system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know there are different types of vasodilators, each with their own unique way of working. Can you break those down for us?
Of course. Let's start with the artery specialists, the ones that really focus on the arteries.
Okay.
Those are the vessels carrying all that oxygen-rich blood away from your heart. These are called arterial dilators, and they work by decreasing the resistance to blood flow within those arteries.
So they're like widening the lanes on a highway, making it easier for the cars to get through.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. What are some examples?
Hydralazine and minoxidil.
Hydralazine and minoxidil. Okay, I'll make a note of those. Now, what about the other side, the veins? Are there any that focus on those?
Absolutely. We call those the venous dilators. They primarily work on the veins, which are responsible for, returning the blood back to the heart.
Okay.
By relaxing the muscles in those vein walls, they reduce how much blood is returning back to the heart, which in turn lessens the workload.
Oh, interesting. So it's like easing the traffic flow back towards the heart.
Yeah.
Giving it a little break. What's a good example of one of those?
Nitroglycerin is a classic example. You might have heard of it. It's frequently used to treat angina.
Nitroglycerin, check.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the medications that don't discriminate between arteries and veins? Are there any that just work on both?
Yes, indeed. We call those mixed dilators. They impact both the arteries and the veins.
Okay.
Sodium nitroprusside and isosorbide denitrate are two
The
examples.
multitaskers.
Yeah.
So we've got arterial, venous, and mixed dilators. Are we missing anybody on this team?
There's another really interesting group, the calcium channel blockers.
Okay.
They work a little differently. They prevent calcium from actually entering the cells of the heart and the arteries, which helps those cells to relax, leading to, you guessed it, vasodilation.
So they're like the chill pills for the cells, helping them to just loosen up and go with the flow.
That's a great way to put it. Some well-known examples include amlodipine and nifedipine.
Okay, so amlodipine, nifedipine, got it.
Hmm.
Arterial dilators, venous dilators, mixed dilators, and now the calcium channel blockers. Are we missing anyone else?
There are two more classes that we need to talk about that work a bit more indirectly: ACE inhibitors and ARBs.
Ooh, intrigue. What are ACE inhibitors and how do they fit in with all of this?
So ACE inhibitors stand for angiotensin-converting enzyme inhibitors. It's a mouthful, I know.
Okay.
They basically block the formation of a hormone called angiotensin II, which is known to constrict blood vessels.
So by preventing the production of this constricting hormone, they're indirectly allowing the vessels to relax and widen.
Precisely. It's like cutting off the supply lines to the construction crew that's trying to narrow those blood vessels. Common examples are lisinopril and enalapril.
Got it. Lisinopril and enalapril. Okay, what about those ARBs that you mentioned? How do they work?
Yeah, so ARBs stand for angiotensin II receptor blockers,
Okay.
and they have a slightly different approach. They directly block the action of angiotensin II on those blood vessels.
So ACE inhibitors prevent the hormone's formation, but ARBs actually block the effects.
That's it. Some common examples are losartan and valsartan.
Okay, losartan, valsartan.
Yeah.
So we've got a whole team of vasodilators, each with its own unique way of tackling blood pressure and improving circulation. This is quite the lineup.
It is. And one more type I want to mention, especially for angina.
Nitrates.
Nitrates, right.
Tell us a bit more about how they work.
So nitrates, like nitroglycerin and isosorbide mononitrate, relax those smooth muscles in the blood vessels,
Okay.
particularly the ones supplying the heart. This increases the blood flow to the heart muscle, which can relieve the pain of angina.
So they're like specialized vasodilators with a talent for easing that chest pain.
You got it. They're like the heart's personal masseuses.
Okay, I love that. So we've covered a lot. We understand what vasodilators are and how they work. We've explored all the different types and their mechanisms. But like any medication, they also come with some potential side effects, right?
Right. And understanding those potential side effects and also the importance of using them, safely and responsibly is crucial. We'll delve into those aspects in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've learned about how they work, the benefits, the types. But like you said, it's important to be aware of the potential downsides and how to use them safely. Stay tuned, everyone, as we explore that in the next part of our deep dive into the world of vasodilators. Welcome back to the show.
Picking up right where we left off.
We're delving into the crucial aspects of vasodilator safety. We've already explored how these medications work their magic, on the blood vessels. But now it's time for a little reality check. What are some potential side effects that we should all be aware of?
Well, just like any medication, vasodilators can sometimes cause side effects. Not everyone will experience them. Some common ones include things like headaches, flushing, dizziness, a rapid heartbeat. You might see fluid retention and sometimes low blood pressure.
Okay, so that sounds like a pretty diverse range of potential side effects. Is there any way to predict who might be more susceptible to experiencing those?
It really varies from person to person. Factors like age, overall health, other medications that they might be taking, and even genetics can play a role.
So it's really a personalized response. And it really highlights the importance of working with your doctor to monitor how your body reacts.
Absolutely. Open communication with your doctor is key. Just let them know about any side effects you're experiencing, no matter how small they seem. They can adjust your dosage or maybe even switch you to a different medication if needed.
Right. So it's all about finding that sweet spot of managing the condition effectively while also minimizing those downsides. Now, another crucial aspect of medication safety is understanding potential drug interactions. Can you shed some light on that for us?
Definitely. Drug interactions can be a bit like a complex dance. Sometimes medications can step on each other's toes and lead to some unexpected outcomes.
Yeah. What are some of the common culprits when it comes to interacting with vasodilators?
Well, one of the most common are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or NSAID.
NSAIDs, right.
Yeah, those everyday painkillers like ibuprofen or naproxen.
Yeah, those are in everyone's medicine cabinet.
Yeah.
How do they interact with vasodilators?
Well, they can actually reduce how effective the vasodilators are at lowering blood pressure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if someone's taking both a vasodilator and an NSAID regularly, they might not be getting the full benefit of their blood pressure medication.
Okay, so that's something to be aware of. What other medications should people be careful about?
Another class of drugs to keep an eye on are alpha and beta blockers.
Mm-hmm.
These are often used to treat high blood pressure and other heart conditions.
So if someone is taking both a vasodilator and a beta blocker, what could happen?
Well, the concern is that combining them could cause their blood pressure to drop too low.
Oh, right.
Because remember, they're both working to lower blood pressure, so their effects kind of add up.
Right, and if blood pressure drops too low, that can lead to dizziness, fainting, and in really severe cases, even be dangerous.
Exactly. It just goes to show that even medications that seem harmless can have unexpected interactions. It's always better to be safe than sorry, and just talk to your doctor about all the medications and supplements you're taking, even the over-the-counter ones.
Yeah, good advice. Now, while we're on the topic of medications that can kind of work together with vasodilators, we should probably mention diuretics.
Yeah, diuretics, sometimes called water pills,
Right.
they help your body get rid of excess fluid, which can also help to lower blood pressure. So when they're used together with vasodilators, it can really enhance that blood pressure lowering effect.
It's like a double whammy on blood pressure. Again, it just shows how important it is to monitor your blood pressure closely when you're taking multiple medications.
Absolutely. And we haven't even talked about antidepressants yet. They can also sometimes interact with vasodilators, sometimes changing how well they work or increasing the risk of side effects.
Okay, so a lot of potential interactions to keep in mind.
Yeah. And we can't forget about alcohol.
Oh, right. Alcohol is always something we should be mindful of with any medication. What's the story there?
Alcohol can actually enhance the blood pressure lowering effects of vasodilators.
So, while that might sound like a good thing on the surface, too much of a good thing can be a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it leads to that dangerous drop in blood pressure we were just talking about.
Right. Moderation is key, it sounds like, and probably best to just limit alcohol when taking these medications.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, so we've got NSAIDs, alpha and beta blockers, diuretics, antidepressants, and alcohol. Anything else?
One last but very important point is that combining vasodilators with other medications that are specifically designed to lower blood pressure, we call those antihypertensive medications, that can also lead to a big drop in blood pressure.
Right, because they're all working towards the same goal. So combining them can have this cumulative effect. It's like having too many cooks in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Love that analogy. It's all about finding the right balance, the right combination and dosage of medications to manage blood pressure without causing any unwanted side effects.
So we've covered a lot of information about potential risks, interactions. It's a lot to take in, but it's clear that these medications should be used very carefully and always, always under the guidance of a healthcare professional.
Absolutely. Self-medicating is never a good idea, especially when you're dealing with medications that affect the heart and blood vessels. It's like trying to fix your car engine without any mechanical knowledge. You're probably going to do more harm than good.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about how to use these medications safely. What are some key tips to keep in mind?
Well, the golden rule is to always, always follow your doctor's instructions. They're the experts, and they'll tailor the treatment plan to your specific needs.
Okay, that seems pretty straightforward. But what does that actually look like in practice? What should people be doing?
Well, it starts with sticking to the prescribed dosage. Don't be tempted to adjust it yourself, even if you're feeling better or you're experiencing side effects.
Right, because even small changes can have a big impact, right? It's like baking. If you change the amount of flour, you'll get a different result.
Exactly. And consistency is key, too. Try to take your vasodilator around the same time each day to keep a steady level of the drug in your system.
Right, like setting a reminder. What about those times when we inevitably forget to take our meds?
If you miss a dose, take it as soon as you remember. But if it's almost time for your next dose, skip the missed one and go back to your regular schedule. The important thing is don't double up on doses to make up for a missed one.
No double dosing, got it.
Yeah.
What about just stopping the medication? Like, is it safe to stop taking it suddenly if you're feeling better or if you start having side effects?
You should never stop taking vasodilators suddenly without talking to your doctor first.
Okay, why is that so important?
Well, Imagine driving down a steep hill and slamming on the brakes. It would be pretty jarring. Stopping vasodilators suddenly can have that kind of rebound effect. It can cause a sudden increase in blood pressure.
Oh, wow. So even if you're experiencing side effects, it's crucial to talk to your doctor before changing anything.
Exactly. They can adjust your dosage or switch you to a different medication if you need it. It's all about making informed decisions with your healthcare provider.
So we've covered dosage, timing, missed doses, and the importance of not stopping suddenly.
Oh.
What other tips are there for using vasodilators safely?
Proper storage is essential. Always store your medications somewhere cool and dry, away from heat and direct sunlight.
Right, because I imagine exposure to those elements can kind of degrade the medication, make it less effective,
Yeah.
like leaving bread out, it gets stale.
Exactly. And of course, always keep all medications out of reach of children.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Those colorful pills can look tempting, but they can be really dangerous if they're swallowed accidentally.
Absolutely. What about the bathroom? Is that okay for storing medications?
I would avoid storing medications in the bathroom. The humidity from the shower and bath can affect how stable they are. Think of it like electronics. You wouldn't want to keep those in a damp basement.
Good point. So, besides storage, anything else to be mindful of?
Regular monitoring is key. Keep a close eye on your blood pressure while you're taking these medications. Think of it like checking the gauges on your car's dashboard.
Right, so it's about being an active participant in your health, really keeping track of how your body is responding.
Exactly. Home blood pressure monitors are really easy to use. You can find them pretty much anywhere. Check your blood pressure often, and if you see any big changes or if you start experiencing any unusual symptoms, let your doctor know as soon as possible.
So it's all about having that open communication with your doctor.
Absolutely. And speaking of being proactive, we can't forget lifestyle modifications.
Right. Medication is only part of the story when it comes to heart health.
Exactly.
What are some lifestyle changes that can really make a difference?
Eating a balanced diet, getting regular exercise, not drinking too much alcohol, and if you smoke, quitting smoking. Those are all super important for heart health, and they can actually make your medication work even better.
It's like having a team of superheroes. Medication provides support, and lifestyle changes help your body's natural defenses.
I love that. It's all about working with your body, not just relying on medication to do all the work.
Well said. Okay, so we've covered potential side effects, drug interactions, safe usage tips, and how important those lifestyle changes are. Is there anything else we should touch on before we move on?
Don't forget about follow-up appointments.
Oh, right. Follow-up appointments, those are important.
Those regular checkups with your healthcare provider are like tune-ups for your car. They're essential to see how you're responding to the medication, deal with any potential side effects that may come up, and just make any changes to your treatment plan as needed.
So it's like having a roadmap for your health journey. You have these regular check-ins to make sure you're on the right track.
Exactly. Remember, managing heart health is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes ongoing attention, communication with your healthcare provider, and a commitment to taking care of yourself.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into vasodilators, from how they work and the different types to the potential side effects and how to use them safely. But before we wrap up, we want to leave you with something to think about.
Yes, something to spark your curiosity. We've talked about how vasodilators physically widen blood vessels and affect your blood pressure.
Right.
But what about the psychological and emotional side of things? Have you ever thought about that?
That's a really interesting perspective. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So stress, anxiety, tension, these emotional states can often feel like a tightening or a constriction, inside us.
It's almost as if those internal pathways get narrowed, just like blood vessels constricting under pressure.
Exactly. And just like vasodilators physically open up those vessels, maybe there are metaphorical vasodilators for our minds and emotions. We've been talking about metaphorical vasodilators for our minds and emotions.
Practices or techniques that can help us relax, de-stress, expand our capacity for emotional well-being.
Exactly. So things like, mindfulness or meditation, deep breathing, spending time in nature,
absolutely,
connecting with loved ones. These could all be seen as, metaphorical vasodilators for our inner world.
I love that analogy. It's a great reminder that, our physical and emotional health are so interconnected.
Yeah.
And just as we wouldn't neglect our physical health, we shouldn't overlook, taking care of our mental and emotional well-being.
Yeah, it's about a holistic perspective. Recognizing that true health isn't just the body, but the mind, the spirit, the whole thing. And just like we need to be careful about interactions between medications, we also need to be aware of how our thoughts and our emotions and behaviors can, impact our overall health.
Absolutely. It's like a feedback loop.
Yeah,
Those negative thoughts, stress, they can contribute to physical tension
right.
and even make some health conditions worse. While positive emotions and healthy ways of coping can promote relaxation and well-being.
It's all about finding that balance, that harmony between, our inner and outer world.
Exactly. And just as we talked about, finding the right dosage and combination of medications for blood pressure, we have to find the right mix of practices and strategies that work for us, when it comes to managing stress and improving our emotional well-being.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we invite you to think about, what metaphorical vasodilators you might bring into your own life.
What practices or activities help you to, unkink those internal pathways? Reduce that stress and just cultivate a sense of expansiveness and well-being.
Maybe it's, I don't know, taking a walk in nature, listening to some calming music.
Yeah.
Maybe it's spending time with loved ones or engaging in a creative hobby. Whatever it is, make it a priority.
Yeah.
Nurture your emotional well-being alongside your physical health.
And don't forget, just like we talked about with medications, reach out to mental health professionals if you need help. If you're struggling with stress, anxiety, or other emotional challenges, they can help you navigate those.
They can give you tools and strategies to build up that resilience and well-being.
Absolutely.
Well, it looks like we've reached the end of our journey exploring these vasodilators.
It's been great having you all along for the ride. We hope you've learned something about these medications, how they work, what they do, potential side effects, and, most importantly, how to use them safely.
Remember, knowledge is power. Stay informed, stay curious, and always, advocate for your own well-being.
And on that note, we want to say a big thank you for listening to the EMT Blood Pressure Podcast.
I'm Samuel Harrison.
And I'm Olivia Harper.
Until next time, stay healthy and stay informed. And hey, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this episode with anyone who might find it helpful.